The panoramic view from the 47th floor of the Innovatech Tower painted a familiar portrait of New York City, a sprawling tapestry of steel, glass, and relentless ambition. But for Julian Vance, CEO and visionary of Innovatech, it was always about seeing beyond the present, sketching out a future where success wasn't confined to Manhattan's glittering core, but spread outwards, touching forgotten corners of the city. Julian, 42, with a neatly trimmed beard that barely concealed the sharp angles of his jaw, stood bathed in the morning light, phone pressed to his ear. "The final approval, Miss Hayes. I can't stress enough how crucial this is, not just for Innovatech, but for..." He paused, searching for the right words. "Harlem. You understand?" The voice on the other end, crisp and efficient, confirmed what Julian had been tirelessly working towards for months. The city's green light on Project Phoenix, a cutting-edge tech hub slated to rise in the heart of Harlem, designed to breathe new life into the historically underserved community. A thrilling story was about to unfold. This wasn't just another business venture for Julian. It was a personal mission, a journey of discovery back to his roots. He remembered growing up on those very streets, witnessing the slow bleed of opportunity as businesses shuttered and dreams faded. Now, he had the chance to change the narrative, to bring a wave of high-paying tech jobs, educational programs, and a renewed sense of hope to the neighborhood that had shaped him. He ended the call, a surge of energy coursing through him. Turning, he caught the eye of his chief of staff, Maria Sanchez, standing patiently by the door. "We're in, Maria. Project Phoenix is officially a go." Maria, a whirlwind of efficiency and unwavering loyalty, responded with a knowing smile. "I knew you'd pull it off, Julian. No one works harder. So what's next on this unsolved mystery of what to do with all these opportunities?" Julian grinned, a rare display of unbridled enthusiasm. Next, we build something extraordinary." He strode towards the floor-to-ceiling windows, gazing out at the cityscape. The skyline seemed to shimmer with possibilities. Project Phoenix wasn't just about bricks and mortar, code and circuits. It was about dreams reborn, futures rewritten, and a testament to the power of perseverance. It was a thrilling story in the making, and Julian Vance was ready to write it. "Let's make sure this story is a journey of discovery, Maria." The sleek, open-plan office of Innovatech hummed with a controlled energy, the quiet clicks of keyboards, hushed phone conversations, and the occasional burst of creative brainstorming. Julian Vance, ever the hands-on CEO, often wandered the floor, engaging with his team. Today, he stopped by the workstation of Ben Carter, a brilliant but perpetually stressed lead programmer. "Ben, how's the AI interface coming along for Project Phoenix?" Ben, rubbing his tired eyes, sighed. "It's progressing, Julian, but we're facing some compatibility issues with the older systems we're trying to integrate for cost-effectiveness. Plus, getting more people onto the project, so it is becoming an unsolved mystery." Julian recognized the strain. Innovatech's rapid growth had brought its own set of challenges, balancing innovation with practicality, maintaining quality control while scaling up. He was committed to diversity, but integrating different skill sets and perspectives wasn't always seamless. Across the office, Julian noticed a heated discussion between Sarah Chen, the head of marketing, and Mark Olson, the senior financial analyst. He couldn't make out the words, but the tension was palpable. A potential clash of vision, no doubt, as they grappled with the financial realities of Project Phoenix versus the marketing promises. Julian knew that navigating these growing pains was essential. His management philosophy was simple: empower his team, foster open communication, and find innovative solutions to complex problems. But he also knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. The journey of discovery was just beginning, and many challenges lay ahead. The email arrived late in the afternoon, a deceptively simple message from the morning show, one of New York's highest-rated daytime programs. They wanted Julian Vance to be a guest, discussing tech innovation and community impact. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to promote Project Phoenix. Julian forwarded the invitation to Maria Sanchez, his chief of staff and trusted advisor. Her response, delivered with characteristic directness, was less enthusiastic. "The morning show? Julian, are you sure about this? Their track record isn't exactly stellar. They tend to sensationalize things, To make it a thrilling story rather than tell a real one, Julian leaned back in his chair, considering. I know, Maria, but think of the exposure. Millions of viewers. This could be huge for Project Phoenix. Maria raised an eyebrow. Or it could be a disaster. They love to build people up, then tear them down. It's an unsolved mystery how they get away with some of it. Julian understood her concerns. He knew the risks of appearing on a mainstream media platform. But he also believed that the potential rewards outweighed the dangers. Project Phoenix was too important to pass up this opportunity. I'll be careful, Maria, he assured her. I'll control the narrative. I'll stay focused on the message. Opportunity for Harlem, innovation for the future, he sighed. This project, it is not just a personal mission. It is the journey of discovery for everyone in Harlem. Maria remained unconvinced. Just promise me you won't let them manipulate you, Julian. Don't let them turn this into a sideshow. Julian nodded, a determined glint in his eyes. I promise. I'm willing to risk it. This is too important. But as he stared at the invitation on his screen, a knot of unease tightened in his stomach. Julian stared at a faded photograph on his desk, a group of smiling children standing in front of a dilapidated building in Harlem. He was among them, a skinny kid with bright eyes and an unshakable determination. Flashback 1. 8-year-old Julian, shivering in the cold, watched as his mother, a tireless single parent, was denied a loan at the local bank. The unspoken reason hung heavy in the air. Poverty, race, and the systemic barriers that trapped so many in the neighborhood. Flashback 2. High school Julian, juggling a part-time job at a local bodega with his studies, overheard a teacher dismiss his dreams of attending a top university. Those opportunities aren't for kids like you, Julian, the teacher had said, his words laced with prejudice. Flashback 3. College Julian, struggling to afford textbooks and rent, spent countless nights in the library, fueled by instant coffee and an unwavering belief in his potential. He refused to let poverty define him, to let prejudice dim his dreams. The photo, a tangible link to his past, served as a constant reminder of where he came from and what he was fighting for. Harlem wasn't just a place on a map. It was a part of his soul. It fueled his ambition, shaped his values, and ignited his passion for creating opportunities for others. His journey of discovery starts here. Madeline Royce, the polished and poised lead anchor of Metro Morning, sat across from her boss, network executive Richard Harding, in his opulent office overlooking Central Park. The panoramic view was a constant reminder of the stakes: ratings, revenue, and relentless competition. Madeline, we need to shake things up, Harding said, his voice sharp and demanding. Ratings are down. We need to create some buzz, some controversy. Madeline, 38 and fiercely ambitious, understood the unspoken message. Perform or be replaced. She had worked tirelessly to reach this position, sacrificing personal relationships and enduring the constant scrutiny of the media spotlight. Now, her career hung precariously in the balance. We have Julian Vance coming on next week, Madeline said, trying to steer the conversation towards a more palatable topic. Project Phoenix is a great story. Harding dismissed it with a wave of his hand. Too positive, Madeline. Audiences want drama. We need to ask the tough questions. Is Vance's success all it seems? Is he truly giving back to Harlem? Or is this just another PR stunt? Is this going to be a journey of discovery? He emphasized with a smirk. I want answers. Madeline felt a knot of unease tighten in her stomach. She prided herself on her journalistic integrity, but Harding's demands threatened to compromise her values. He was pushing her towards sensationalism, towards turning a promising story into a tabloid spectacle. I'll do my best, Richard, she said, her voice carefully neutral. But as she left his office, Madeline knew that the pressure was on. She had to deliver the ratings, even if it meant sacrificing her principles. The Metro Morning green room felt sterile, impersonal. Julian sat alone, the silence broken only by the hum of the fluorescent lights. The air was thick with anticipation and a growing unease. A monitor flickered on, displaying a preview of his segment. The title flashed across the screen: Julian Vance, Savior or Self-Promoter. Julian clenched his jaw. So, that's how they're playing it. This wasn't going to be a conversation. It was going to be a trial. The journey of discovery has suddenly turned dark. The bright lights of the Metro Morning Studio shone on Julian as Madeline Royce. All smiles and practiced charm began the interview. Julian, welcome to the show. Project Phoenix is certainly generating a lot of buzz. Thank you, Madeline, Julian replied, his eyes carefully scanning her expression. We're excited about the potential to transform Harlem. Madeline nodded, her tone shifting subtly. But some critics are questioning whether Project Phoenix is truly about community impact or simply a calculated move to boost Innovatech's image. Is there more to this unsolved mystery? Julian met her gaze, unflinching. Those critics are misinformed. I'm deeply committed to Harlem, to giving back to the community that raised me. But let's be honest, Julian, Madeline pressed, her smile unwavering. Innovatech has benefited from numerous diversity initiatives and tax breaks. Did those advantages pave the way for Project Phoenix, or was this a journey of discovery built on pure merit? Julian's eyes narrowed. The first shot had been fired. Julian parried Madeline's pointed questions with practiced ease, skillfully redirecting the conversation back to the potential benefits of Project Phoenix for the people of Harlem. He had to be careful, precise, and unwavering. It was turning to a thrilling story. Miles Thorne, the ruthless CEO of Omnicorp, watched the Metro Morning interview on a large screen in his private office. He sneered. Vance is playing the community card. How predictable. Across from him sat Evelyn Reed, Omnicorp's head of strategic development, her expression equally cynical. Project Phoenix threatens our dominance in the city. We can't let it succeed. Thorne leaned forward, his eyes glinting with malice. Find a way to undermine Vance, Reed. Expose his flaws. Exploit his vulnerabilities. Make sure this journey of discovery is short-lived and makes it an unsolved mystery. Reed nodded, her expression determined. Consider it done, Miles. I'd have a few ideas brewing. As Madeline pressed Julian on the financial details of Project Phoenix, a subtle flicker of concern crossed his face. He knew that powerful forces were working against him. Forces determined to protect their own interests, no matter the cost. But he couldn't let them win. Not this time. This new subplot, Julian thought, makes the original mission a thrilling story. Madeline, with all due respect, Julian began, his voice calm but firm. You're framing this narrative in a way that perpetuates harmful stereotypes. You're implying that because I'm a black entrepreneur, my success is somehow less legitimate, less earned. He leaned forward, his gaze unwavering. The truth is, I've faced obstacles that you can't even imagine. Systemic barriers, racial prejudice, and a constant struggle to prove myself were all part of my journey of discovery. Madeline shifted uncomfortably in her seat, a flicker of defensiveness in her eyes. I'm simply asking the tough questions, Julian. It's my job. No, Julian countered. Your job is to seek the truth, not to perpetuate bias. The truth is, black entrepreneurs are often denied the same opportunities as our white counterparts. We have to work twice as hard to get half the recognition. The mystery is that it is unsolved for so long. Project Phoenix is my way to change this. A hush fell over the studio. Julian's words hung in the air, raw and powerful. Madeline, for the first time in the interview, seemed genuinely taken aback. Do you have to play the race card, Mr. Vance? Madeline said with a low voice. It seems that the truth hurts, Julian replied. Julian paused, letting his words sink in. Let me put it this way, Madeline. Imagine a building is on fire. One person manages to climb out battered and bruised, but alive. Do you point to that person and say, see, the fire wasn't that bad. They made it out, didn't they? He shook his head, his expression filled with conviction. No. You acknowledge the fire, the devastation it caused. You recognize the survivors' resilience, but you don't pretend the fire didn't exist, or that it wasn't a struggle to escape. My success, Innovatech's success, doesn't negate the systemic barriers that continue to hold back countless black entrepreneurs, Julian continued, and looked into the camera. It just means I fought harder, climbed higher, to escape the burning building. But that doesn't mean the fire is out. The studio was silent, the air thick with unspoken emotions. Madeline stared at Julian, her face pale, her carefully constructed composure crumbling. His words had struck a chord, exposing the uncomfortable truths that lay beneath the surface of the interview. Truths about the journey of discovery. The clip of Julian's burning building analogy exploded online. Within hours, #VanceTruth and #MetroMorningBias were trending worldwide. Social media erupted in a frenzy of opinions. At Black Tech Rising, Julian Vance spoke truth to power. Finally, someone called out the systemic bias in the tech industry. At Real Patriotusa, another virtue-signaling CEO playing the race card. So tired of this divisive rhetoric. At Equality for All, it's not about race, it's about merit. Vance is just trying to get attention. At Harlem Hope, Project Phoenix is a game changer for our community. Thank you, Julian Vance. The internet had become a battleground, a chaotic mix of support, outrage, and everything in between. The interview had ignited a national debate, exposing the raw and often ugly divisions that simmered beneath the surface of American society. The praise quickly turned to pressure. Innovatic stock price dipped. Several major clients put contracts on hold. And Julian's inbox overflowed with hate mail and even veiled threats. The board was getting restless. Several members questioning Julian's judgment, wondering if his activism was damaging the company's bottom line. Maria tried to shield him, but the anxiety in her eyes was unmistakable. The impact reached beyond the professional realm. Late one night, Julian received a call from his mother, her voice trembling with fear. "Julian, please be careful. I saw what people are saying online. Some of them are so angry." He tried to reassure her, but her fear gnawed at him. Project Phoenix wasn't just about building a tech hub. It was about protecting his community, his family. The most devastating blow came when the city council announced it was reevaluating its support for Project Phoenix, citing concerns about the project's viability, and Omnicorp had increased pressure on the local officials. Julian knew that Miles Thorne was behind it, manipulating events from the shadows. Despite the relentless pressure, Julian refused to back down. He doubled down on his commitment to Harlem, reaching out to community leaders, organizing town hall meetings, and reaffirming his vision for a better future. The journey of discovery has become a journey for survival. "They think they can scare me," Julian told Maria, his voice weary but resolute. "They think they can break me, but they don't know me or my community. I won't yield." The day after the interview, Madeline Royce walked onto the Metro Morning set with a forced smile. The atmosphere was palpably tense. Her co-anchor, usually jovial, offered a curt nod. Behind the scenes, the network executives were in damage control mode. The phone lines were flooded with complaints, advertisers were threatening to pull out, and Madeline was summoned to Richard Harding's office. "Madeline, what happened out there? What happened out there?" Harding demanded, his face contorted with anger. "You let Vance run circles around you. You made us look like a bunch of out-of-touch elitists." Madeline tried to defend herself, but her words sounded hollow even to her own ears. She replayed the interview in her mind, cringing at her own insensitivity, her own bias. Was this just a thriller story for me? Back in her dressing room, Madeline stared at her reflection, a wave of self-doubt washing over her. Had she become the very thing she had always despised? A mouthpiece for corporate interests, a perpetuator of harmful stereotypes? The journey of discovery has turned into one of shame. The unsolved mystery? Had I turned into a villain? Maybe it was time to tell the story that was right. Miles Thorne was playing dirty. Omnicorp's lobbyists descended on City Hall, spreading misinformation about Project Phoenix, exaggerating the potential costs, and downplaying the benefits for the community. Anonymous articles began appearing online, questioning Julian's financial dealings, accusing him of corruption, and falsely alleging environmental violations at the proposed tech hub site. Thorne was turning this thriller story to his advantage. Evelyn Reed, Thorne's lieutenant, had dug deep into Julian's past, unearthing minor indiscretions from his college days and twisting them into scandalous accusations. She leaked these stories to sympathetic media outlets, further damaging Julian's reputation. The pressure on the city council intensified. Several members, swayed by Omnicorp's influence and the negative publicity, began wavering in their support for Project Phoenix, the unsolved mystery. Would the city crumble from the pressure? The journey of discovery was threatened by ruthless tactics. Thorne would play any card to win, and his ruthless tactics threatened to derail everything Julian had worked so hard to achieve. The stakes were higher than ever. Despite the relentless attacks, the Harlem community refused to be silenced. Inspired by Julian's courage and unwavering commitment, they rallied to his defense. Local activists organized protests outside City Hall, demanding that the council stand by its commitment to Project Phoenix. Community leaders launched a social media campaign, flooding the internet with messages of support for Julian. It had evolved into a true thriller story. "We won't let them tear down our dreams," declared Mrs. Rodriguez, a lifelong Harlem resident and community organizer, at a rally. "Julian Vance is one of our own, and we'll fight for him and for Project Phoenix, this journey of discovery to save Harlem." The message was clear. Harlem stood with Julian. Just when things seemed darkest, a lifeline appeared. A small independent news network, City Voices, reached out to Julian with a proposition, a televised special entirely on his terms. "We want to give you a platform to tell your story, Julian," the network president, Sarah Klein, explained. "No spin, no agenda, just your unfiltered perspective." It was a gamble, but Julian knew he had nothing to lose. This was his chance to take control of the narrative, to bypass the biased media and speak directly to the people. The journey of discovery has come to a turning point. He accepted the offer. The showdown was coming. This thriller story was to be told once and for all. The City Voices studio was small, intimate, a stark contrast to the gleaming set of Metro Morning. But Julian felt more comfortable here, more authentic. This was his space, his voice. He spoke passionately about his experiences, about the systemic barriers that Black entrepreneurs faced, about the urgent need for meaningful reforms. He shared his vision for a more equitable future, a future where opportunity wasn't determined by race or zip code, a future where everyone had a fair chance to succeed. "This was my journey of discovery to create the best outcome," Julian thought. "We need to dismantle the old structures, the outdated systems that perpetuate inequality," Julian declared. "We need to invest in our communities, empower our entrepreneurs, and create a level playing field for everyone." His words resonated deeply, reaching millions of viewers across the city. The phone lines lit up, social media buzzed with activity, and a new wave of support for Project Phoenix surged. "This thriller story ends when my community wins." He knew a turning point was here. Weeks later, the dust had settled. The city council, swayed by the outpouring of public support and the undeniable benefits for Harlem, approved Project Phoenix. Julian's transformative deal was finally a reality, and new jobs and opportunities were being offered to his old neighborhood. It was the happy ending the community of New York deserved, and a just reward for a long journey of discovery. Meanwhile, Madeline Royce had resigned from Metro Morning, publicly apologizing for her biased interview and vowing to dedicate her career to promoting social justice. She had begun working with community organizations, amplifying their voices and advocating for meaningful change, a just twist on this unsolved mystery. The fight for equality was far from over, but Julian Vance had proven that one person, with courage and conviction, could make a difference. The thriller story was now over, but a new one will be written. Project Phoenix was just the beginning. The story of Julian Vance offers potent lessons for navigating life's challenges. First, embrace your roots and give back. Julian's commitment to Harlem fueled his ambition, reminding us that personal success is amplified when shared. Consider how you can use your skills to uplift your community. Second, be prepared to face opposition when standing for your beliefs. Julian's story shows that acting with integrity often brings adversity. This means fortifying your resolve and seeking support from your community. Third, use setbacks as fuel for growth. The series of sabotage by Miles led to him using it as fuel for his own fire. Julian's persistence despite attacks reminds us of the power of resilience. Reframe obstacles as opportunities for learning and innovation. Fourth, don't be afraid to disrupt the status quo. Julian's willingness to call out injustice is a powerful reminder that progress requires challenging existing biases. Speak up, but also be open to changing your own views. Finally, believe that your past doesn't define your future. Julian faced hardship and bias and persevered through all of it. By taking action and being the change you want to see, it can lead to empowerment and change to everyone who needs help. By embracing these principles, you can navigate your own journey of discovery with purpose, resilience, and a commitment to building a more equitable world.